What if every case you win pulls you closer to the devil himself? What if success, power, and fame slowly turn a good man into something evil? Today's story is about a lawyer who never loses, no matter how guilty his clients are. Kevin Lomax is brilliant, fearless, and dangerously persuasive in court. But the more he wins, the more he loses himself. Because sometimes, the scariest monsters don't hide in darkness. They wear expensive suits and smile while destroying lives. The story begins inside a tense courtroom where a little girl is giving testimony against her school teacher. Her tiny voice shakes with fear as she explains that the teacher did something horrible to her. The entire courtroom goes silent. Even the air feels heavy. The judge gently asks her questions. What happened? When did it happen? How many times? And the girl explains everything in heartbreaking detail. The accused teacher's lawyer is Kevin Lomax. At first, Kevin truly believes his client is innocent. But the longer he listens to the child speak, the more something inside him starts to break. Deep down, he realizes the horrifying truth. This man is guilty. The girl even reveals that the teacher had done the same disgusting things to other children too. For the first time in his career, Kevin feels conflicted. It's almost like he no longer wants to defend his own client. He suddenly asks the judge for a 15-minute recess, and surprisingly, the request is granted. During the break, Kevin drags his client into a corner and threatens him. His face is filled with anger and disgust. He straight up tells the man that he doesn't want to help him anymore. Then Kevin storms into the bathroom and starts fighting with himself. You can literally see the guilt eating him alive, because for once, his conscience is screaming louder than his ambition. But at that exact moment, another man walks into the bathroom. A reporter named Larry. With a mocking smile, Larry says, "Looks like today might be the first time you ever lose a case." And those words hit Kevin right in the ego. That single sentence changes everything. Suddenly, it's no longer about justice. It's no longer about the little girl. Now it's about Kevin's pride. He walks back into the courtroom like a completely different person. Cold, ruthless, calculated. Then he begins destroying the little girl's testimony piece by piece. Kevin asks her, "Isn't it true that you once made an inappropriate drawing of your teacher because you hated him?" He twists every innocent thing into something suspicious. He tries to make it seem like the students already disliked the teacher long before these accusations. Then Kevin attacks even harder. "Did you accuse your teacher just because he looked weird? Because he was overweight and awkward?" The little girl tries desperately to explain that it was only a childish joke, but Kevin manipulates every word she says. He slowly turns the entire courtroom against her, and then he goes after her character. Again and again, he pressures her with uncomfortable questions. "Have you ever thrown parties at your house?" The girl nervously says yes once. Then Kevin asks if alcohol was involved. Again, she admits yes. And that's the moment Kevin flips the entire case upside down. He convinces the court that the girl manipulated her friends into giving false statements so she wouldn't feel alone. Since she had sworn on the Holy Bible, she's eventually pressured into admitting small inconsistencies in her story. Now the courtroom starts doubting her. Suddenly, the teacher begins to look innocent, and the child looks like a liar. And just like that, Kevin wins the case. Another victory. But this victory feels different. Darker. Dirty. Because Kevin knows exactly what he just did. He helped set a monster free. A man who could destroy more innocent children in the future. And the scariest part is, Kevin understands all of this perfectly. He knows right from wrong. He knows the truth. But success matters more to him than morality ever will. That night, Kevin celebrates the victory by drinking heavily at a party. Everyone around him treats him like a hero. But beneath all the laughter hides a horrifying reality. An evil man is free because of him. During the celebration, a mysterious man named George approaches Kevin with an unbelievable offer. George tells him that a major opportunity is waiting in New York. Kevin only needs to help select jury members for an important case. In return, he and his wife will receive luxury accommodations, expensive food, and an entirely new life in New York City, completely free. For Kevin, the decision is easy. The temptation is too strong. Meanwhile, The movie cuts to a church where people are praying peacefully. Among them is a deeply religious woman named Alice Lomax, Kevin's mother. Faith means everything to her. Kevin never knew his father because the man abandoned them when Kevin was only 3 years old. Because of that, his mother became his entire world. Before leaving, Kevin visits her for advice. He asks if he should move to New York, but Alice immediately refuses. She warns him that New York has become a city consumed by corruption and evil. In her eyes, it's no longer a place for good people. She believes darkness rules that city now, almost like the devil himself owns it. But Kevin doesn't believe any of it. Using his charm and sweet words, he eventually convinces his mother. Soon, Kevin and his wife marry and leave Florida behind and travel to New York. And the second they arrive, their lives begin to change. Kevin successfully handles the jury selection exactly the way George wanted, and because of Kevin's choices, George wins the case easily. That's when another important man enters the story. John Milton, the owner of the biggest law firm in New York City. From the very beginning, Milton seems strangely interested in Kevin, almost obsessed with him. Kevin is invited to Milton's luxurious office, and everything about the place feels unreal. Expensive art, giant halls, endless power. Feels less like a workplace, and more like a palace built for kings. While looking around, Kevin notices a mysterious woman, and for some reason, he feels instantly drawn toward her, almost hypnotized. Then Kevin finally meets John Milton himself. Milton offers Kevin the dream life every lawyer wants. Money, power, luxury, fame, women, everything. During their conversation, Milton quotes a Bible verse. "Behold, I send you out as sheep among wolves. Therefore be wise as serpents and innocent as doves." The line sounds powerful but strangely unsettling. Milton tells Kevin to remember those words carefully because someday, they'll reveal hidden truths. And trust me, this movie hides secrets everywhere. Later, George and his wife show Kevin and Mary in their new apartment, and the place is absolutely breathtaking. Huge rooms, expensive furniture, massive windows overlooking the city. It's the kind of life most people only dream about. Soon after, Kevin receives his very first case under Milton's firm. The client is an African-American man accused of performing disturbing animal sacrifices inside his home as part of a mysterious dark ritual. This case is incredibly complicated because black magic and strange religious practices are involved. Proving the man innocent seems nearly impossible. But Kevin once again uses manipulation like a weapon. Inside the courtroom, he completely changes the direction of the argument. Kevin claims that faith and religious expression are personal rights. According to him, every person worships differently. Some people walk barefoot for their beliefs. Others suffer pain to show devotion. So why should this man's practices automatically make him guilty? Kevin's arguments are so intelligent and persuasive that even the judge begins questioning his own assumptions. And once again, Kevin wins. Another case. Another victory. Another step deeper into darkness. But while Kevin's career keeps rising higher and higher, his marriage slowly begins falling apart. He becomes so obsessed with work and John Milton that he barely spends time with Mary anymore. At first, she tries to adjust to her new life in New York. New city, new people, new lifestyle. But underneath her smile, loneliness is quietly growing. One night, the couple attends a glamorous party hosted by John Milton. Before entering, Marion makes Kevin promise that he won't leave her alone. But the second they arrive, Kevin gets distracted by another woman named Natasha and completely forgets about his wife. Meanwhile, Marion wanders through the crowded party by herself, isolated and uncomfortable. That's when John Milton approaches her personally, and it becomes obvious very quickly that he's flirting with her. The two share drinks together, and Milton casually comments that she should straighten her hair before a bird builds a nest in it. It sounds like a joke, but there's something disturbingly intense about the way he says it. Marion laughs awkwardly, yet his words stay stuck in her mind. After the party, Kevin meets Milton, George, and an older lawyer named Eddie at Milton's office. A massive new case has arrived involving a wealthy businessman named Alex Cullen. Alex is accused of murdering his wife, his adopted son, and the family maid. The case was originally supposed to go to Eddie, but Milton suddenly hands it over to Kevin instead. And Eddie is furious. When Kevin finally returns home that night, he finds Marion completely drunk. She's deeply upset because Kevin abandoned her at the party for almost 3 hours after promising he'd stay by her side. The next day, Alex Cullen himself appears unhappy too. He doesn't like the idea of trusting such an important case to a younger lawyer instead of someone experienced. But Milton convinces him. He reminds Alex that Kevin has never lost a case in his life. That Kevin is a winner, a man built for impossible victories. Eventually, Alex agrees to work with him until the next hearing. And throughout their conversations, Alex keeps repeating the same thing over and over again. "I'm innocent." According to him, when he arrived home, his wife, son, and maid were already dead. After this, the movie shows Marion spending time with George's wife. But during that moment, Marion suddenly sees a horrifying side of her. A face so disturbing, so unnatural, that it almost feels impossible to explain. Maybe it was just her imagination. Or maybe the drugs and pressure were finally destroying her mind. When Marion tells Kevin everything, he brushes it off immediately. He thinks she's just stressed, confused, maybe even hallucinating. But deep inside, Marion is breaking apart. That luxurious apartment looked beautiful from the outside, but inside it felt cold, empty, and painfully lonely. The bigger the apartment felt, the more isolated Marion became. Most of the time she stayed there completely alone while Kevin spent nearly every waking second with John Milton and the firm. Slowly, loneliness started eating her alive from the inside. Kevin begins thinking maybe a child could fix everything. Maybe becoming parents would save their marriage and bring Marion happiness again. But when he walks toward her one night, something terrifying happens. For a split second, he doesn't see Marion standing there anymore. Instead, he sees Natasha from his office. That moment shakes him completely. It's like reality itself is starting to bend around him. Meanwhile, Kevin starts investigating Alex more deeply. One question keeps bothering him. Why did Alex pick up the gun from the crime scene? Alex explains that he panicked. He thought maybe someone else was hiding inside the house, so he grabbed the weapon out of fear. But the truth is, that night Alex wasn't alone. He was actually with his assistant Melissa. And if Melissa testifies in court that Alex was with her at the time of the murders, Alex could walk away as an innocent man. That means Kevin absolutely needs Melissa on his side. At the same time, Marion's condition keeps getting worse. Kevin becomes so worried that he calls his mother to New York. But the moment his mother sees John Milton, fear flashes across her face. It's subtle but noticeable. John arrives with 2 beautiful women by his side, smiling casually like always. In the elevator, he starts asking Kevin's mother strange personal questions. But instead of answering, she just stares at him silently, almost like she recognizes something terrifying about him. The next day, Kevin finally meets Melissa. She confidently tells him Alex is innocent and that he was with her the entire night. After that, Kevin and John travel together on the subway. And this scene becomes one of the strangest moments in the movie. John keeps staring at a random man nearby. Eventually, the man loses his temper and starts yelling aggressively. Suddenly, in anger, he pulls out a knife. Everyone around them panics instantly. People freeze in fear. But John Milton? He doesn't even blink. Instead, John calmly starts speaking to the man in his own language. Then he says something impossible. He tells him that at this exact moment, his wife is cheating on him with another man. He even says her name out loud. The man's face turns pale with shock. Without another word, he jumps off the subway and runs home. Kevin is left speechless. How could John possibly know all of that? And the creepy part? This isn't the only time it happens. Later, they go to watch a boxing match. Before the fight even begins, John already knows who the winner will be. Every move, every detail. It's almost like he can see things before they happen. But how? How does John Milton always know everything? That terrifying mystery is finally revealed near the end of the film. John is a man constantly surrounded by women, temptation, luxury, and sin. And slowly, he's trying to turn Kevin into the exact same kind of man. Meanwhile, Marion's mental state completely collapses. She becomes emotionally shattered. She starts believing she'll never become a mother. And eventually she accepts that nightmare as reality. Kevin tries desperately to comfort her. He tells her it's just stress, just bad dreams. But Marion can no longer tell the difference between reality and horror. Finally, Kevin opens up to John about the problems in his marriage. Surprisingly, John advises him to leave the case and focus on his wife. He tells Kevin that Marion needs him more than ever right now. But Kevin isn't the kind of man who walks away from a challenge. Winning matters too much to him. This case isn't just about justice anymore. It's about his pride, his reputation, his obsession with never losing. And he proves that in court. When the opposing lawyer humiliates Alex in front of everyone, Kevin stands up and does something shocking. At first, it sounds like he's attacking his own client. Kevin says, "Honestly, I don't even like Alex." The courtroom goes silent. Then he continues. He calls Alex selfish, corrupt, dishonest, a man who betrays business partners and fights with his own family. Kevin says nobody would be surprised if Alex was guilty. At this point, it genuinely feels like Kevin is destroying his own case. But then, Kevin changes everything with a single sentence. He says, "Ask yourselves one question. Is disliking someone enough to call them a murderer?" And just like that, the entire courtroom shifts. In one brilliant moment, Kevin transforms Alex from a monster into a victim. The energy of the case completely changes. The hearing ends, and now Kevin's biggest hope is Melissa, the one witness who can prove Alex's innocence. Kevin starts preparing her carefully for court, asking question after question so she won't make mistakes during testimony. But then something happens. Kevin notices a hesitation in her voice, a tiny pause, one nervous reaction, and instantly, he realizes the horrifying truth. Melissa is lying. Alex really is the killer. He committed all 3 murders. That realization shakes Kevin to his core. For the first time, his confidence cracks. He immediately tells John everything. But instead of panicking, John calmly tells Kevin to follow his heart. Maybe, just maybe, this should be the first case he loses. Maybe not every battle is meant to be won. But Kevin's ego is stronger than his conscience. He refuses to lose. And because of that decision, Alex is set free. After court, Kevin rushes to Marion. She's terrified beyond words. Crying uncontrollably, she tells him something horrifying. She says a man assaulted her. And that man was John Milton. Kevin refuses to believe it because during that exact time, John was sitting beside him in court. Marion's condition becomes so unstable that Kevin takes her to a doctor, but the doctors recommend admitting her into a psychiatric hospital immediately. The next morning, a man from the Justice Department approaches Kevin. First, Kevin ignores him, but then the man reveals something horrifying. The school teacher Kevin once defended has finally been arrested, and inside his car, police discovered the body of a missing young girl. Kevin freezes. The man explains that he's been secretly investigating John Milton for years. According to him, John's empire stretches far beyond law firms, weapons, drugs, illegal businesses across the world, corruption everywhere. He believes John is connected to unimaginable evil, and he needs Kevin's help to bring him down. But before he can say more, a speeding car suddenly crashes into him, and just like that, he's dead. At this point, Kevin's world completely falls apart. He returns to Marion, whose condition is now even worse. Marion's mother is there too, devastated by what her daughter has become. Then Kevin's own mother pulls him aside privately and reveals a shocking secret. Years ago, back in 1966, she came to New York on a church trip. She stayed at the same hotel where a mysterious waiter worked. That man was Kevin's father. She admits there was something unnatural about him, something dark, magnetic, impossible to resist. Kevin can barely process what he's hearing. But before he even understands the truth, Marion suddenly grabs a piece of glass and slashes her own throat right in front of him. Kevin screams in horror. Blood everywhere. Chaos everywhere. Thankfully, doctors manage to save her life and rush her into the ICU. Then Kevin's mother reveals one final terrifying detail. She says Kevin's father once quoted a strange biblical line to her. "I'm sending you out, as sheep among wolves." The second Kevin hears that sentence, everything clicks. The truth finally hits him. John Milton isn't just his boss. He's his father. Kevin storms directly into John's office, gun in hand. But this isn't an ordinary room anymore. The walls feel alive. Reality itself feels twisted. And John Milton is no ordinary man. He is Lucifer himself. The devil. King of hell. Kevin points the gun at him and screams, "What did you do to Marion?" John finally drops the mask. Calmly, almost proudly, he reveals everything. Kevin pulls the trigger again and again. But the bullets do nothing. They can't hurt him. Because evil like this cannot be killed so easily. Then John says one of the coldest lines in the entire movie. "People call me Satan, Lucifer the devil, but I'm not the real sinner. You are." And then he reminds Kevin about the subway conversation. He warned him to walk away from the case. He warned him to choose his wife instead of victory. But Kevin didn't listen. Because Kevin's greatest weakness wasn't greed. It was vanity. His obsession with winning. Then John finally reveals his true plan. He wants Kevin to have a child with his own half-sister. A child destined to rule the world in darkness. But Kevin finally understands something important. Maybe he cannot change the past, but he still has free will. And in one shocking moment, Kevin turns the gun on himself. He pulls the trigger. John screams in rage as fire erupts around him. Natasha burns beside him as both of them are dragged back into hell. Then suddenly, Kevin wakes up. He's back in the exact same bathroom from the beginning of the movie. The school teacher case. The first temptation. The first choice. It was like destiny gave him one final chance. Larry once again tries convincing Kevin to take the case. But this time, Kevin refuses. People around him hate the decision. They call him weak. They call him stupid. But Marion stands beside him. And for the first time in his life, that's enough. Larry keeps tempting him one last time. But now Kevin sees the truth. Because Larry was never just a reporter. He was Lucifer again. Smiling one final time, he says, "Vanity, definitely my favorite sin." And that's the true meaning of this movie. The devil doesn't always appear with horns and fire. Sometimes he appears as a success, as ambition, as temptation, as the voice inside your head telling you to sacrifice everything just to win. The biggest lesson from the devil's advocate is this. Every human being has free will, the power to choose right from wrong. And the moment we stop being honest with ourselves, we slowly become prisoners of our own darkness. If this story shocked you, then hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and join me for another unforgettable movie breakdown. Because here, every story hides a darker truth. Thanks for watching.